The Vosani Confederacy had studied Earth for decades before making contact. Their extensive research indicated humans were ready for peaceful integration into the galactic community. Ambassador Lyrics Tainal smoothed her iridescent ceremonial robes as the delegation's ship approached Earth's orbit. Her 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of nervous anticipation among her kind. "Final approach to human diplomatic station harmony," announced Navigator Pelrock. "The humans have cleared us for docking." "Excellent," Lyrics replied. "Remember, colleagues, these bipeds evolved on what our classification system terms a death world. Their biology suggests they should be aggressive, but their transmissions indicate they've overcome their violent origins. This is why we've chosen them as mediators for the Crexivian dispute." The massive orbital station gleamed ahead, a testament to human engineering despite their relatively primitive technology. What the humans lacked in technological advancement, they made up for in architectural creativity. Floating gardens encircled the station's central hub, bathed in artificial sunlight. High Admiral Vrax leaned toward Lyrics. "I still believe this is a mistake," he whispered. "Deathworlders are unpredictable. The Crexivians have been raiding Vosani colonies for generations. If these humans side with them, that's precisely why we need neutral mediators," Lyrics interrupted. "The Crexivians respect strength. Humans possess it naturally due to their high-gravity origins, yet choose peace. This makes them ideal." The docking procedure completed with unexpected smoothness. Commander Ilara Frost greeted them at the airlock. A tall human with copper-colored skin and silver-streaked hair pulled into an intricate braid. "Welcome to Harmony Station," she said, bowing slightly. "I'm Commander Frost, diplomatic liaison. The United Earth Council is honored to host peace negotiations between the Vosani Confederacy and the Crexivian Empire." Lyrics performed the traditional greeting gesture. "The honor is ours, Commander. Earth's reputation for fairness precedes you." What the Vosani delegation couldn't know was that just 3 light-years away, a Crexivian battle fleet had just annihilated a human research outpost. The distress signal was still making its way to Earth, carrying footage of Crexivian warships vaporizing unarmed scientists. As Lyrics and Commander Frost exchanged pleasantries, Admiral Mercer of the Earth Defense Fleet received the transmission. In his secure command center, his weathered face hardened as he watched the massacre unfold on screen. "Those bastards," he whispered, reaching for the emergency comm. "Ready Defense Protocol Omega. Inform the President immediately." The Vosani had come seeking peace mediators. They were about to discover what happened when you awakened a sleeping giant, a species that had evolved on a world where everything from microbes to megafauna had been trying to kill them since before they walked upright. For all their research, the Vosani had missed something crucial. Humans hadn't abandoned their capacity for violence. They had simply learned to contain it until provoked. Commander Frost's comm unit buzzed discreetly as she guided the Vosani delegation through Harmony Station's Arboretum. The message was coded urgent, directly from Fleet Command. She maintained her diplomatic smile while absorbing the news about the Crexivian attack. "Ambassador Tainal, would you excuse me briefly? A small administrative matter requires my attention." Once alone in a secure chamber, Frost contacted Admiral Mercer. "The Crexivians murdered our people while simultaneously sending delegates here for peace talks. What are my orders?" "Continue the diplomatic charade," Mercer replied. "The President has authorized Operation Thunderfall. While you keep both delegations occupied, we'll reposition our fleet. The Vosani need to be kept in the dark. We're not certain of their involvement." Meanwhile, Ambassador Lyrics admired the Earth plants thriving in the station's controlled environment. Her scientific mind categorized the vegetation, remarkable adaptations from a planet where even the flora evolved defensive mechanisms. "Your botanical specimens are fascinating," she told her aide, Mikhail. "Notice how many contain toxins or thorns. Even their plants are warriors." Mikhail's response was interrupted by the arrival of the Krexivian delegation. Unlike the willowy, four-eyed Vosani, Krexivians resembled armored arachnids, with chitinous exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their delegation was led by Warlord Drazk, his carapace adorned with metallic ceremonial inlays. "Greetings, Warlord," Lyric said formally, hiding her distaste. Centuries of conflict had bred deep mistrust between their species. Drazk's mandibles clicked. "Ambassador, how predictable that you would arrive first, eager to influence these primitives against us." Commander Frost returned, her demeanor impeccably professional despite knowing what the Krexivians had done. "Warlord Drazk, welcome to Harmony Station. We've prepared suitable accommodations for your physiological needs." As the three species gathered in the station's Grand Council chamber, humans throughout Earth's solar system were quietly mobilizing. Military reserves were called up, civilian vessels repurposed, and automated defense platforms activated. President Kovich addressed the United Earth Council in closed session. "The unprovoked slaughter of our research team demands response, but we'll be strategic. The Krexivians believe us weak. This misconception is our advantage. They've mistaken our restraint for inability." Back on Harmony Station, Lyrics observed the humans with growing unease. Their behaviors had subtly shifted. Movements, more precise, expressions harder. Something had changed since their arrival. When a human aide handed Commander Frost a datapad, Lyrics noticed the aide's knuckles were white with tension. That evening, as the Vosani delegation prepared for the first negotiation session, High Admiral Vrax approached Lyrics. "Ambassador, our intelligence suggests unusual activity in the human fleet. Multiple vessels have altered position, and their communications have adopted military encryption protocols. Could they be responding to some internal matter?" Lyrics pondered. "Perhaps," Vrax replied, "or perhaps we've miscalculated these Deathworlders entirely." Neither of them realized how profound that miscalculation was, nor how quickly they would witness its consequences. The negotiations began cordially enough in Harmony Station's Grand Council chamber. The room's circular design placed all three delegations equidistant from each other, symbolizing parity that didn't actually exist. Commander Frost opened proceedings with practiced diplomacy. "We gather to resolve the territorial disputes in the Myconian sector. Earth has no stake in these conflicts, only a desire for galactic stability." Warlord Drazk's translator conveyed his clicking response. "The Krexivian Empire claims these territories by right of discovery. Vosani colonization efforts represent illegal encroachment." "Discovery?" Ambassador Lyrics countered. "Your discoveries occurred after our settlements were established. We have stellar cartography records dating back 7 generations." As the familiar arguments unfolded, Lieutenant Orvo Kijak monitored communications from the station's security hub. Young but brilliant, Kijak had been handpicked for this assignment. He watched as encrypted updates from Earth's mobilizing forces scrolled across his screen. Defense fleet vessels were assembling at designated coordinates, armed with weapons the Krexivians didn't know existed. Earth had maintained the appearance of limited military capability, a strategic deception now proving invaluable. In the council chamber, Commander Frost skillfully moderated increasingly heated exchanges. The Krexivians remained unaware that humans now possessed proof of their treachery. During a recess, Ambassador Lyrics approached Commander Frost privately. "Commander, may I speak frankly? Something has changed since our arrival. Your staff's behavior, the increased security, these suggest developments beyond diplomatic protocols." Frost measured her response carefully. "Ambassador, diplomacy often has unseen currents. Focus on the negotiations. That's where solutions will emerge." Unsatisfied, Lyrics returned to her quarters to find High Admiral Vrax reviewing security footage he'd managed to access. "Look," he said, displaying holographic images of human maintenance crews working throughout the station. They're installing additional systems in critical junctions. Defensive measures? Lyric suggested. Or preparation for something more aggressive? Vrax countered. I've been studying human history. When threatened, they don't negotiate, they annihilate. That evening, President Kovich addressed humanity in a system-wide broadcast that was deliberately not translated for alien delegates. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, we face a moment of profound challenge. The unprovoked Krexivian attack on Outpost Galileo claimed 47 lives, scientists and engineers who sought knowledge, not conflict. While we pursue diplomatic options, we prepare to demonstrate that humanity will not be victimized. Trust in your government. Trust in your defense forces. Aboard the flagship Indomitable, Admiral Mercer reviewed final preparations with his command staff. Colonel Ria Valenti, commander of the 7th Tactical Response Unit, presented the assault plan. The Krexivians have never faced our Phantom-class stealth vessels, she explained. They rely on overwhelming firepower, not defensive innovation. Their shield configurations are vulnerable to our EMRG weapons. Mercer nodded gravely. The President has authorized full deployment. Commence Operation Thunderfall on my mark. Back on Harmony Station, as delegates retired for the night, Lieutenant Kijak received the coded alert. Storm approaching. The storm would break by morning, and the galaxy would never view humans the same way again. Ambassador Lyrics was awakened by an urgent alert. Her quarters illumination activated automatically as her aide, Mikhail, burst in. Ambassador! The humans have locked down the station. They're claiming a security protocol has been initiated, but they won't explain further. Lyrics dressed hurriedly. Contact the Krexivian delegation. See if they're experiencing similar restrictions. Before Mikhail could respond, Commander Frost's voice came through the station's communication system. Attention all delegates. Your presence is required in the observation deck immediately. The situation has developed beyond diplomatic parameters. When the Vosani and Krexivian delegations arrived, they found the observation deck's massive viewport shutters withdrawn, revealing the starscape beyond. Commander Frost stood with Lieutenant Kijak and a squad of armed human security personnel. What is the meaning of this? Demanded Warlord Drazk. Frost's previous diplomatic warmth had vanished. 3 days ago, Krexivian warships destroyed Earth's research outpost in the Galileo system, killing 47 unarmed civilians. We have confirmed. Your direct authorization of this attack, Warlord. The accusation hung in the air. Drazk's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation his translator didn't convey. Preposterous, he finally responded. Where is your evidence? Here. Frost nodded to Kijak, who activated a holographic display showing the massacre from multiple angles. Our outposts contain quantum-entangled communication arrays. We received everything in real time. Ambassador Lyrics watched in horror as the footage showed Krexivian warships methodically obliterating the human facility. Warlord Drazk, is this true? You attacked while simultaneously entering peace negotiations? These primitives were monitoring our fleet movements, Drazk replied dismissively. A necessary security action, Frost's expression hardened. We invited you here as an act of good faith. Your response was to murder our people while smiling across a negotiation table. And what will you do, Commander? Drazk's translator conveyed, mocking tones. Your species barely manages interplanetary travel. The Empire has conquered 12 systems. Look outside, Frost said quietly. All eyes turned to the viewport. At first, nothing seemed unusual in the starfield. Then, as if materializing from nothing, the outline of a massive warship appeared, followed by another and another. The vessel's stealth systems deactivated, in sequence, revealing an armada that dwarfed anything the Krexivians had brought to Earth space. Impossible, whispered Drazk. Our sensors detected no fleet movements. Your sensors detected what we wanted them to, Frost explained. Humanity learned long ago to hide our true capabilities. Ambassador Lyrics stepped forward. Commander Frost, the Vosani Confederacy had no knowledge of the Krexivian attack. We came in genuine pursuit of peace. We believe you, Ambassador. That's why you're here, to witness. A new voice spoke, Admiral Mercer, transmitted from the flagship Indomitable. Krexivian vessels, this is Earth Defense Fleet. You have committed an act of war against humanity. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. The response came quickly. Krexivian battlecruisers emerging from FTL, moving to engage the human fleet. They've chosen, Frost said grimly. Lieutenant Kijak, activate defensive protocols. What followed was unlike anything the aliens had witnessed in centuries of interstellar conflict. The battle unfolding beyond Harmony Station's viewport defied everything the Vosani and Krexivians understood about warfare. Human vessels moved with impossible precision, their formations shifting like predators circling prey. Where Krexivian tactics relied on overwhelming firepower, the humans fought with surgical precision. Witness what you've awakened, Commander. Frost told Warlord Drask as his fleet's formations began to crumble. Ambassador Lyrics couldn't tear her 4 eyes from the spectacle. How is this possible? Your technological development doesn't suggest such military capability. A common misconception, Frost replied. Earth is classified as a death world for good reason. Our evolution demanded we become problem solvers first, warriors second. We built our civilization by overcoming threats that would have annihilated less adaptable species. The human fleet deployed technologies neither alien species had encountered. Kinetic bombardment systems that bypassed energy, shields, electronic warfare platforms that hijacked enemy targeting systems, and most devastating of all, gravity manipulation weapons that created localized distortions in space-time. High Admiral Vrax watched in professional awe as human fighters executed maneuvers that should have torn their pilots apart. Their physiology, he muttered, their withstanding G-forces that would kill most spacefaring species. Lieutenant Kijak monitored battle communications at his station. Admiral Mercer reports Krexivian primary fleet assets neutralized. They're targeting command vessels now. Warlord, Drask's exoskeleton had paled to a sickly hue. This is impossible. Your species was assessed as pre-emergent. Your weapons technology was primitive. A deliberate facade, Frost explained. When we detected first alien transmissions decades ago, our leaders made a strategic decision. We would appear less advanced while quietly preparing defense capabilities. Your attack simply forced our revelations sooner than planned. On the main screen, the Krexivian flagship listed helplessly, its propulsion systems destroyed by pinpoint strikes. Admiral Mercer's voice came through again. All Krexivian vessels, your command structure is compromised. Stand down immediately or be destroyed. Lyrics turned to Commander Frost. The Vosani Confederacy had no part in the Krexivian aggression. We came seeking genuine mediation. We know, Frost acknowledged. Our intelligence networks are more extensive than anyone realized. That's why we've spared your observation vessels. At the edge of this system, this revelation stunned Lyrics. The Vosani had believed their monitoring ships completely hidden. You knew they were there all along? Ambassador, there is very little in our star system we don't know about, Frost said with a thin smile. It's how we've survived. The battle concluded with startling speed. The remaining Krexivian vessels surrendered as their flagship's reactor was systematically disabled by human boarding parties. The once proud Krexivian war fleet now floated as captured prizes. President Kovich's image appeared on the observation deck's main screen. Warlord Drask, you came to our home under pretense of peace while your forces murdered our citizens. Now you will witness the consequences of that decision. The Empire will never accept defeat, Drask insisted, though his translator conveyed less certainty than before. This isn't about acceptance, President Kovich replied. It's about understanding. You believed humans were weak because we chose peace. Now you understand, peace was always our preference, never our only option. 3 days after what Galactic's historians would later call the Harmony Revelation, representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations gathered on the station. The Krexivian Empire had sued for peace within hours of their defeat, offering unprecedented reparations and territorial concessions to both humans and Vosani. Ambassador Lyrics stood beside Commander Frost as they awaited the arrival of President Kovich for the formal treaty signing. The station hummed with activity. Diplomatic staff from across known space scrambling to establish relations with the suddenly formidable human civilization. "You've upended the entire galactic balance in less than a week," Lyrics remarked. "Species that have never agreed on anything are now unified in reassessing humanity." "Fear is a powerful motivator," Frost acknowledged. "But that's not what we want." "What does Earth want, truly?" Lyrics asked. "Now that your military capabilities are revealed, you could dominate the local cluster." The station's grand chamber doors opened as President Kovich arrived with his delegation. Unlike the ornate finery worn by other species leaders, his attire was simple, a charcoal uniform bearing only Earth's unified emblem. After formal greetings, President Kovich addressed the assembled representatives. "The galaxy now sees what humanity is capable of when threatened. Some of you wonder if this demonstration heralds Earth's emergence as a conquering power. It does not." Murmurs rippled through the alien delegations. Earth evolved in isolation, on a planet that tried to kill us at every turn. This forged our species into survivors, yes, but also into dreamers. We developed art alongside weapons, poetry alongside tactics. Our greatest strength isn't our capacity for violence, but our ability to choose when not to use it. "Pretty words," Warlord Drask muttered from his position as defeated signatory. "But history suggests otherwise." Kovich turned his gaze to the Krexivian. "You mistook restraint for weakness, a common error when dealing with apex predators. A lion doesn't constantly display its claws. It doesn't need to." The treaty signing proceeded with solemn formality. Beyond establishing new boundaries and reparations, it created something unprecedented, a multilateral defensive pact with humanity at its center. Later, as delegations prepared to depart, Ambassador Lyrics found Commander Frost in the station's arboretum. "Your president speaks of peace while building the greatest military alliance the galaxy has seen," Lyrics observed. "Some might call that contradictory." "We call it learning from history," Frost replied. "Earth's nations spent millennia fighting each other before realizing collective security benefits everyone. We're applying that lesson galactically. And if others resist this new order, then they'll have choices to make." Frost gestured toward a particularly resilient Earth plant growing under artificial light. "Like this desert rose, evolved to survive brutal conditions, capable of defending itself with toxins, yet producing something beautiful when not threatened." As Lyrics prepared to board her vessel, Admiral Mercer approached her with an unexpected offering, a small metallic emblem bearing Earth's symbol. "A token of respect," he explained. "Your honesty throughout this crisis has been noted." "What happens now, Admiral?" Lyrics asked. "Humans have revealed themselves as the galaxy's most formidable species. Many will sleep less soundly knowing this." Mercer smiled, not unkindly, but with the confidence of a predator secure in its position. "Tell them not to fear sleeping humans. Ambassador, tell them to fear what happens when we're awakened against our will." As the Vosani ship departed Earth orbit, Lyrics watched the blue-green planet recede through the viewport. Her report would reshape Confederacy policy for generations. Humans had evolved on a world that honed them into perfect survivors, creative problem solvers who built their civilization by overcoming existential threats daily. The aliens had wanted peace. They'd gotten it, but on humanity's terms. backed by the unveiled power of a species that had mastered warfare before it mastered the stars. The galaxy would never be the same again. And perhaps, Lyrics reflected, that might ultimately be for the better.